Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to another broadcast. This is April 30th. One more day, and we're into the next month. So we're here going over what's happening in the GCR. And there's a lot happening. The GCR is happening right now. It is. It truly is. Not. But I think we're going to be going over that. It's just speaking with Tank just before getting on the air. We didn't have too much time. There is interesting news, and he'll be joining relatively shortly. He's has another show he's going to be doing. He'll tell us about that at 10. So basically, he'll be on for about an hour and then go on to the other. So anyway, so the GCR happening again. Right, Steve Mnuchin is in China, right, with the Chinese elders, right. So he's there in China, and it was very funny me trying to explain this to my Chinese partner in the GCR. For him, they're just assets, right, and then I brought it up that his former partner, the one that was in the CIA, Ralph. Who died, and I said that Ralph had told me when I first started talking with him about the Super Pacelli bonds back in 2014. I remember the first things he said to me is that everything was already redeemed. So, and that's part of the reason he got into trouble, because he was working with at the time the things that were being redeemed. And he was getting his piece, and then he wasn't allowed to. No. The lower people, no wealth for you. No. So though he did have wealth, but we're talking about massive wealth, billions. So this was the thing that was I'm explaining to him about the GCR, and sorry, the wind is. I've got the fan blowing. Something kicked up in the fan. So I'm trying to explain to him the GCR is not as we were thinking it was. And he even had some of his people in China, in the government in China, his friends, that basically told him, no, you should stay out of that. Protecting him, right? But what was the actual thing that was behind it? It wasn't very clear, And China had actually gone through a very big purge on this about a year ago in Shenzhen. It was estimated to be 300,000 brokers that were involved in trying to get the assets of the GCR, these historical bonds. 300,000. Yeah. You could spot them. they were Caucasians. Not all, but they're not Chinese. They're involved in actually these things. So, but there was a big crackdown on this, and that's when they warned him to stay out of it. There's more going on that he can't be involved in. Now, we were already quite finished about a year, but there's still, even today, different bonds and things that are being made available. He just told me about some Hong Kong dollar bonds. These are almost like bearer bonds. Basically you have them, you should be able to bear them and cash them in, but you can't. You can't use them in the normal way, but they still have value, and they want to use them in a trading platform. Of course, Tank is saying, oh, all trading platforms are shut down. All the current ones are more meant to acquire the assets. But I think they're also using them to kind of float the system, to get them valued. You reuse allocation numbers, and suddenly, all of a sudden, they have these assets being brought down, again, right? So anyway, it's hard to explain this piece of it, but it's there's some big projects there. The project, hundreds of billions of dollars in solar projects that they want to complete, and they want the funding to come from the platforms. So, and I'm speaking in old language. I don't speak about it in this way. They don't call them platforms. It's not really platform in the way that we know. It was just a terminology to explain it. A lot of it went into it, but in reality, it's not supposed to be known, right? This is how the secret way in which assets were made by the countries. Not assets, how the secret way that the currencies were created into the system was by these humanitarian projects. And the whole system was designed so that there would be abundance. And if they actually had followed the system, there would have been, creations of these projects all around the world. But as Tank says, they only fund like 2%. The rest of the money they steal away. Put it more zeros in their bank account. How many zeros do you need in your bank account to make you feel like you've won? There's no end to it. There is no end to greed. There is no end to greed. There's no end to those that seek power. They always want more power. And even when you have, just think, of the master dictator of the planet, right? The great white throne that Tui talks about. Even though one sovereign, everyone underneath you, what did he want? More power. What did that mean? It meant actually subjugating everyone to the point that, well, I can actually just kill you off if I want to as well, because I have the power, right? So I'll just kill everyone off. So this is the derangement of the 7 deadly sins. Greed being one of these most horrifying. And I bring a lot of this back to fear. Fear being the progenitor of these emotional things that drive people into these seven deadly sins. So, hey Tank, how's it going?
Hey man, can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. Actually, it sounds pretty clear.
Okay, good. Yeah, man. Pretty exciting day. What are you talking about?
I said that you were going to be jumping off in an hour. And there were some exciting things. I didn't mention what they were, so I'll let you go ahead and give us an update.
Yeah, so currently, what I was told is that the purge at the Department of the Treasury is supposed to begin today, meaning that there's finally going to be action taken to get rid of these characters who have been blocking all of the who've been contacting the banks and telling them to not to credit the accounts for the Pentagon or for Manna. So that's exciting. And then also the Pentagon has assumed the function of the FDIC. So they are now running all of the FDIC functions to ensure proper operation and to avoid various scamming of financial institutions, to ensure that they don't go down. And the reason why is because the Federal Reserve no longer has the power or the ability to do that. So that is a pretty big deal. I don't think that's public yet, but that is a fact. So that's exciting.
Yeah, so you know that your audio is starting to drift in and out.
Okay, 1 second, and I will be right with you. Give me you fill in time, and I'll be right back. Hang on.
Okay. You know, and at that moment it was very clear, but if it's one of those hanging microphone, I think it's swinging with you. I'm just guessing. You know. Okay, filler time.
I got you. Okay, sorry about that. Am I more clear now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So sorry, just to repeat. So the Pentagon has assumed all of the functions of the FDIC as far as banks go. So now we are really moving in and surrounding them on all sides, where they can no longer, avoid doing business in a proper and upright fashion, because basically, the FDIC is the one who should be regulating a lot of this stuff. They're one of the regulatory authorities for the banking industry. And that is no longer controlled by the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve they don't have a charter, and they don't have the ability or the capability to do that anymore. So that's something that I think will have to be public very shortly. So that's exciting. And the purge started today at the Department of Treasury. So they are firing people in the Department of the Treasury to make sure that there's room made for people who are for the people. So,
Right. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So I mean, I was listening to some things from an X22 report about again more about the Federal Reserve board being filled by some other possible people coming in that Trump is going to put in. So there's this continuing conversation about restructuring the Fed. So it makes sense, if there is to be a new charter, right? Then maybe this charter also includes that the people own the Federal. That would be a good. I'm just guessing, right? Because they're talking about restructuring, and keeping. You have to. The system is set up, right? It's all pervasive throughout the world. You just can't remove it, right? Now, even though I understand that they've been neutered by Kim, right?
Yeah. Right. It's like, well, I think you can.
Yeah. Well, you can remove them in the legal principles and things like that, but they're still sitting in their houses after foreclosure.
Right.
How they like it.
Right. Yeah.
People will lose their homes and they're still sitting there, and anyway, so the Federal Reserve, if it's remade and they do a new charter for it, then hopefully that's one of the things that it's actually made as a not private anymore. It's part of the government.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. It appears to me that the Pentagon is going in and really taking control of everything, which that would be the epitome of national control, right? Which
Sure.
I think that would also synchronize with what was said by Q the other day, which is the United States military is the savior of humanity, right?
Right.
Because if they don't go in and do this, right, if they don't go in and take control of these places, they'll just continue to play the same game indefinitely, because the people in these places, there's too much at stake for them, I guess.
Right.
They're either money that they want to make, so they're being bribed, or they're being threatened, where they often threaten biblical genocide. Where they'll kill, we'll kill you and all your family, and all your friends and anybody who ever knew you. Like they'll make those kind of threats, which in times past, right, was a time-honored tradition, right, from generation to generation of the cabal, and they just felt they had the right to do that. But everything that I'm hearing is that this new generation, that is up and coming of the bloodline, that they don't even want anything to do with that. They don't want anything to do with the ritualism, or they just want to do business. Like I'm sure they want to enjoy their cushy lifestyles that they've always had, right? But
Right.
but they don't want to they don't want to be in a constant state of war with the rest of the world and be doing things in an unethical way, to get get ahead, but do it at the expense of other people in such a a horrible way. I think that there's just an energy and a vibration in the world right now that just that everybody feels like, I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, I think we're riding the wave, man. So it's surfs up.
Right.
So we're actually on the crest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not a surfer, right?
Oh yeah, no, dude. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not a hardcore surfer, but I
Okay.
do surf.
I just wonder how much
Anything on
surf there
water,
was
I can
in New York.
do. Is that
Are the fire
in Long
hydrants
Beach?
maybe?
Nah, man, Long Beach. Long Beach has good surfing.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a grand surfer. I did only some surfing back, in my high school days. But
Well, I can skateboard, like pretty well. Like, I could still ride a ramp, and I could, still handle myself. I make sure anything my sons can do, I can compete with them at. That's my rule. So,
okay, congratulations. Yeah,
yeah, thanks.
I left my rollerblades behind quite a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to have like hockey blades, to actually, to play like roller hockey. And I thought I could just go ride them on a half pipe. And I didn't realize that, for like the kind of blades people ride on a half pipe, they're like flat on the bottom. They're like trick blades and they're smaller. So I tried to ride my very sharp rollerblade skates when I was like, I want to say I was like 28. And I went up the ramp and I just had to turn. Like if I was on a skateboard, I would have just turned back around, but I
Mhm.
couldn't turn. So my skates went down the exact same path, swept out from underneath me. I cracked my ribs and broke my wrist.
Yeah, that's about the time that I stopped using my rollerblades. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in so much pain. I was like, oh, I was like, that is not the way it was when I was a kid when you fell.
Yeah. It's like why is it anyway? Let's get to this life extending technology. We can grow to the younger age of, say, I picked 19.
19. Wow.
Well, you know why
That's,
19? Because when I was married 18 years, and when I first started dating, like the first 4 women that I dated asked me the same question: "Are you 19?"
wow.
So since then, I've been 19.
Magical.
Yeah.
He's hold that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I stopped dating when I was 18, so it made
Yeah.
sense.
So fascinating. I spoke to um is it Captain, I can't remember his name now. Off the top of my head, it's Captain Kramer, I feel. But the guy who he was actually in the wars on Mars, right? And he was describing these massive, massive bugs that were like just, they would chop his limbs off, right? And he would come back to the med bed. They would reproduce his limbs, right, from scratch. And like this was like what it was like, in this environment and these wars on Mars, right? And then what happened was, in the way he told the story, is that, when his service was over, he was 38 years old. So at 38 years old, they took him back to the base on the moon, and they regenerated a brand new body, for him, where he was only 19 years old, right? And this because they were going to send him back to Earth, and even though he'd been in the service, right, in this the Eisenhower space program, right, which was the United States Marine Corps Special Service, and so the United States Marine Corps Special Service, they had he had gone to Mars, and but the time is different, right? So even though it had been 20 years, no time had passed, or like just a couple of years had passed, or something like that, on Earth. So I guess he left when he was 17, and he was going to go back as 19. So he said, even though he had all these experiences, when he woke up and he was in his 19-year-old body because he was looking at his own face, at 19, he said he just started acting 19 years old, right? Like it was all a dream. He just acted immature, and he said, but then over time, there was all these like incredibly, he had all these accelerated powers, right? That he like learned that he had later in life. Like, like he almost got jumped one time, and then like he ended up leaving like, 10 men like wounded and bloody or something, because he had all these like powers he didn't know he had. So I don't know if you're allowed to go back to 19. Was my point in saying all that?
No, I got it. No, I said there was no coordination between me and you on that story, right? So
other than the 19. The 19 was the one part.
So I'm glad to know it's possible that I can grow to 19. Now maybe. So I'm thinking now that it's my terminology. You basically, you take a pill, you go in a chamber, whatever. You get younger and younger and younger as you age younger. You stop at the age of whatever you dialed yourself into. So if you're going to be 21, you're going to be 19, you're going to be 16. It can only go, I guess, down so far, right? I mean, you have to get to your body can't shrink down too much, right? You can't go down to an infant.
Yeah. I don't think you can go down to an infant, although that would be hilarious. I would love to see a little 2-year-old version of Dan Lutz with all the intelligence you have right now.
Actually, that's what my parents had to deal with.
Yeah,
I believe it. I'm the same then, and I'm saying now. So
yeah, that's kind of how I picture things, exactly like that, like Boss Baby.
Yeah. I was always hanging out with everyone that was 10 years older than me. Always. If I was 3 years old, I'm hanging out with the 13-year-olds.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was quite a handful. I was tested, IQ tested when I was in junior high, and they wanted to take me to special schools, but my mother wouldn't allow it. So because I was, fairly advanced, and I was even studying architecture when I was 14. At the age of 14, I was going to be an architect. So I was drafting, buildings and things like that. So anyway, but I always wonder what would happen if I had my mother, put me into those programs, right? But they were definitely, she didn't trust them, right? It was like government people coming in and they wanted to.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Yep, that is definitely what it was. Definitely government programs. Yeah, I was never recruited when I was that young. Never recruited when I was that young. So you must know. I did get recruited by the Marines, who wanted me to come wrestle. That was it. That was it.
I did do wrestling when I was in Pennsylvania, but when I moved to California, there was no wrestling. So I never really pursued that one. I went into the swim team.
What a difference! Yeah, what a difference. It's healthy. So, anyways,
I just want to say I'm excited to hear about what's going on with them routing out the people in the Treasury. It's very exciting. It's how much what else can happen after this? It's a ticking down the list. You have the U.S. Have the military, then you have that. You also have the Rothschilds stepping down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, all these things are happening. I mean, like you have the Rothschilds that are giving up banking to go into what? Like organic farming? Like probably not, right?
No.
It's so everything is aligning, in our favor. Like humanity is taking back control of the planet.
I think the Rothschilds are going to open a wine bar.
That's what I heard. It's going to be that in a coffee shop, just to have girl talk, and they're just going to.
Well, they need cash flow.
Yeah, you need cash flow. Like, I feel like going to a place where like Lord Rothschild was like wearing an apron. I don't care what he's doing. I'm in. Like, he could be a butcher. I don't care. It's fine.
Right. Anywhere where he's wearing an apron, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wine bar.
Yeah, I think wine bar is a good idea. Good idea. I don't know who would go there. I'm sure the wine would be bitter and angry, but that's just me. Yeah, so I saw that. I saw, because the SES has had all of their clearance codes have been transferred over to the Department of Defense. I mean, that's an incredible breakthrough. I don't know if I really brought that out or we really talked about that to do it justice, because that is a game-changing event. These guys have had unlimited reign for forever. They've been able to do whatever they wanted in the system, anywhere they wanted, right? For us to take them to bring it to life like this and just say, okay.
Let me ask you. So, what exactly does this mean, right? That their security codes were transferred. Does that mean that they're no longer functional? They don't have security codes anymore. That they can't go in and punch in a number, and now only somebody in the Defense Department has their code that they can go in and do something. Do the SES members have to call the Department of Defense? So they say, "Hey, I need to do this." Punch in the code. What is this?
Well, to be honest, they didn't do anything before, right? So now, they would basically be able to just function without answering to anyone because they had their own clearance, right?
Right.
So they could take these codes and they could just essentially, if they wanted to clear money, they just put their codes in, right? We have clearance. They could override codes. They had access to, the Treasury, all types of things, because they were at a different level, right? Well, now that clearance is gone, right? So all of that clearance now belongs to the Pentagon. That's why the bank was so aggressive, or that's why the Department of the Treasury, I mean, not all of the Treasury, but just those few individuals were so aggressively calling the banks and telling the banks, don't clear the transfers from the Treasury or from the Pentagon, because in reality, they knew what had just happened. All of their clearance is gone, and they're just holding on for dear life in every possible way they can. So,
yeah. So now they can't. So that's SES, and now the Treasury is in the same situation, right? So they have no codes also.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, the Treasury has been empowered to actually create its own currency, right, and to be able to move forward. So I'm not sure exactly how Kim handled that. I'm not sure exactly what. I'm not sure exactly what she did with it or where she's left them, because she's still definitely working with the Treasury, But I think the rogue elements that were in there, like Mnuchin and at least two others that I know about, were these rogue pieces that were causing problems. So they're, today is supposed to be the purge, right? So anybody who's not with us, right, at the Treasury,
this purge should take about an hour, right?
That's what I was thinking too.
How long is it going to take for them to go in and say, "Okay, you're coming with us"?
Yeah, the way I picture it is, you know, that you had some really hardcore, like full-on SWAT type of engagement, right? Where like the special ops guys came in, they blackened out all the lights, they came in with goggles on, and just surrounded the place with nothing. All you could see is lasers, right, everywhere. And then they were like, if you do not want to clear the transfers from the Pentagon, you may stand up now, speak now.
Yeah.
If you are with us, be quiet. And I feel like if it went that way, it would have handled so many problems so quickly. So
It was good.
That's
It was good to have a video of that. So the guys that were in the SWAT team, you know, just go ahead and put your video out there. You can send it to us. We'll put it.
Yeah. I would love to have an, you know, like an honorary position like that, like where I get to design things like that. That'd be great. You know, because the showmanship is so much about, you know, you can handle so many of these issues with just the right show.
Yeah. So just so you know, Tui is also on.
Tui, what's up, man?
Hey, Tank. Hey, Dan.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear from you, Tui. We were getting worried.
No, just getting busy in the past few days. It's just because the word has been spreading, especially here in Fiji, and there are more and more people that are being involved. They've involved themselves, and they have come in, and so some of the times that I was supposed to go online, I wasn't able to because I was just being tried to be here at this moment now here in Fiji, just to encourage people and talk with them because they're facing uncertainty for for just a few months in the future.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to talk with them and make them understand a little bit more, it settles them down, and they're able to do things more in a calm way, and understand that all this is just part of a big I heard you people are talking about the Purge. Yeah.
They're talking about the what?
The Purge.
Purge.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean before
the Purge. The Treasury you talk about?
Yeah. No, that's why I said the Purge is happening everywhere on the planet.
That's right. That's right.
So
well, the last when you were last on, you had sent the list of all of the unions and people that are striking, all the organizations that are striking, and that's only a couple days from now, right? Is that on Monday?
Yeah, that was on Monday. We have the Union Congress, which is those groups of unions that look after all the different trade unions. So they've listed up all the different unions that will be involved in the strike, and so about 34 unions that I sent you, and some of them are already starting today. They're already doing the strike, and they're not going to work, and because there was threats from the government that if you go on the strike, you'll be terminated. Last week we had about 2,900 workers, about 600 permanent workers in our what you call the authority, the water authority in Fiji. Now they have been terminated. They're receiving their termination letter, and their services are no longer required. So there's a lot of uncertainties.
So they're not getting paid for like 4 months.
Yes.
And so they're saying, well, if you strike, we're going to terminate you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paying them for 4 months.
My gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's it's ironic because that's going to be happening to the rest of not just the water authority, and now the essentials like water, the electricity, and all these people are inside this strike. So all these things will be there will be problems with water and with electricity, and yeah, it's just it's just a way to show the government that the government doesn't belong to the leaders. It belong, everyone, all the people in this land is the government, and so sometimes they need to they have to learn that lesson, and that's the same thing that's happening right now on the planet. That the people, the whole planet belongs to everyone. It's not just a few people trying to control. Once the rest of the public realizes and stand up, this balance will come back into place, and that's what we want to actually see here in Fiji. And yeah, there's a meeting that's going on right now. Like I said, I was telling you guys maybe last week about how the Asian Development Bank is trying to actually help the country or help governments, and I don't think they will be able to do that. And yeah, it was about 400 million wages due or accrued, unpaid yet to the civil servant. About 200 million, more than 200 million of the PLOs, which is the services conducted by contractors to the government. Because they come and do the services to the government and they provide governments with stuff, and they had to get paid, but they haven't been paid for the past 4 months.
4 months.
So
4 months,
yes,
man.
and so they're all backing out. They're all not. They're not contracted anymore. They stop all the vehicles and all this that has been contracted, because now they realize that there's no money in the government. They set up a budget, but they don't have real money to back the budget up, and so that's the other reason why they have a strike. And I'm lucky. We are lucky here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, have you sat down with the Prime Minister to just have him call Kim directly, by the way?
We can. The problem is in the meeting. Is that meeting that I said about the Asian Development Bank? It's on the other side of the island, so they are busy doing that, and we'll be able to get him once he comes up from the meeting, because Fiji is hosting it, so they are looking for money by hosting the trying to host the meeting with the other. What they have is there are different governors for the central banks of all the different countries here in the city. They come there. So I didn't want this central bank to be run to be helped by the
Sweet.
Yeah, you
It's
got
so long.
We're losing you, man. We're losing you.
Oh.
So we heard you say. You said so they're on the other side of the island, and they're conducting a meeting for the AIIB, the Asian International Development Bank, right?
Yes, with all the governors of all the central bank in the Pacific from the different islands. Yeah.
Got it. So the AIIB is down there trying to pretend like they have money, is what they're doing.
Yes.
Because they don't have any money. The SIP system has been turned off. It does not work. So, okay. So the government, the Prime Minister has not fully caught on
Your
yet.
volume is low.
Yes.
My volume.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You're no, not you, Tui. Tank's volume.
My volume. Oh. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah. Okay. No, so I'm curious. So basically, the Prime Minister has not caught on yet.
Yes.
That they don't have money, or I guess the Pacific. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's a lesson they have to learn, Tui.
Yes. Yeah. So I will be talking to him very soon. As soon as we, that's the reason why I'm holding we have our, the initial plan that we have for the business plan for the initial amount that you need a tank. I want a strike to happen first until that. It's just to let the government know that the power comes from the people. Because right now, in the way that the government is running things now, they think they control everything, and they think it's been controlled in a way. It's like like a very big business where the CEO, say anything, and then if they don't follow it, they get fired straight away. And that's how the government has been running for these past 12 years. And so
That's
now
amazing.
yeah. And so the strike, we are really looking forward to it. And we'll be sending you the. I know because we'll be sending you the initial plan that we will want to do the celebration with. So it will be the celebration for the people, and it will be the end to their to their reign as government or control of men.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to do that same thing here. I'm going to propose that. I'm going to call Donald Trump in a minute and be like, listen.
Yes.
We just want to have it. We want to dance and celebrate this thing in properly, please. Just celebrate.
Yes.
Dancing, yeah.
The way it should be.
So,
the way it should be.
Yeah. So the budget, the amount of money that we've been allocating, or where the money will be allocated, about 50% of it I'll be sending it to the rest of the countries here in the Pacific and all over the world, to everyone that's involved with the project. I'll be sending some to you, Dan. Because I need you to, because I need you to come to Fiji.
I'm ready to leave as soon as you're ready for me.
Yeah, I'll be sending it to. We'll be sending it to the rest of all the people that are listening in today. I want you guys to come and celebrate with us here in Fiji. And so we've allocated some of the money that once Kim is able to send in the money to Fiji, all this money will be shared amongst everyone on the planet. Because I need them to realize that this thing has begun. And I don't want them to keep that waiting. If it's just maybe just 50 or 100 grand to all the different groups in the world right now, we'll be doing that. And so that is part of the what the celebration is going to be. And I want you to come have a vacation.
Here in the
celebrate.
Philippines,
Yes.
we call that mobilization money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's very a big
down.
part of.
I'm down for a vacation in Fiji.
Yes, please.
I expect to stay with you though when I come. I'm letting you know.
Yes. Yeah. We are getting. We will be ready for so that this money is to do that, to prepare for these few weeks, for these few days until we can actually do a proper celebration. And I'm very thankful that the tribes from Australia, our original brothers from Australia, the chiefs from there that were working with Kim and the Manna Kingdom of Manna in 2016, they are able to reach out to me, and last night we were able to talk properly, and they started to realize the role that all of us and the role of what this big lesson that we here in the Pacific have to be teaching the rest of the planet, or just to be teaching everyone about what Manna really means. So yeah, I'm very thankful to if they're listening in now, maybe one day we'll be able to ask them to come on. Hey, then, if they can come on, and they'll be. This is the tribes in Australia, the native tribe, that and the chief, and I was speaking to them last night. I will be talking again today. The chiefs here in Fiji are very happy that our brothers there. Because we already knew that they already been involved with Kim in the past few years, and so our involvement just has to do with the misalignment of the Kingdom of Manna, and we need the alignment and the lesson to be learned. And so that's that's why I'm thankful to you guys, to you, Dan, for that opportunity. We were able to wake the Kingdom of Manna up. And hopefully in the future we'll be able to heal that really fast and move forward with the changes that are happening. So that's why all these things are accelerating really fast, because we are able to work together and truly understand that what lesson of love that we're trying to learn from each other. And so, yeah, I'm thankful.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
that's
too,
going to
Tui.
be wonderful. Just tell me what day, and then get them connected to the Telegram, and we can just connect them in, and then we can start having.
Oh yeah. Right now, we are very excited because both sides, from their side and our side, because we've been separated for a very long time, and they've been so suppressed in Australia, in their land because of the corporate structure that they have there. And so they didn't know that we have our own system because they're trying to do something that we already have, like the law of the land. We have what you call the Book of Life. That's the only one in the world that has the Book of Life is our tribe. The rest of the
This is excellent. That's why I suggested you get that document out so that others can follow it as a template. I'd like to read.
that's the reason why I want a celebration, because I want people to come and learn how to actually physically do the freedom of separation, so you can actually
Well,
get yourself.
I love dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Dan, we can tell. You love dancing by your launch music that you play.
Yeah.
The flute,
Smooth guy,
flute
smooth.
pipe. Yeah, smooth. Exactly. Yeah. Tui, I gotta jump on with Mary Lee, my friend, who has her own show, and her whole mission for the past 10 years has been about changing the world through love. And I said, well, you've got to meet Tui because it's very, very similar. So I'm gonna jump on with her at 10 o'clock and do that, man. If you want to, I'd love in the near future. I'm gonna try. I guess I'm gonna go on with her on Monday nights to talk about changing the world in a more
Yeah. Please,
in a more positive way.
please do send her my regards and say that I know that she's there, and I understand our role, and she will understand my role and the reason why I'm here. And so it's very important for us to know each other and just recognize the gift that we express. And that's why we're talking and we're doing this. And I'm thankful to her. I'm thankful to the work that she's been doing. Because every single person on the planet have their own role to fulfill this agreement and make it whole. Without one, if we, this is like the story in the Bible. Without one sheep, it's not 100, it's 99. So we need 100%, and everyone and their role is so important. And in the near future, this will become the only thing that we'll be working on to be able to nurture every single expression, so everyone will become sovereign and work with love and unity. So that's what Manna means. Yeah, and so please do send my regards to Merrily, and I would love to join you guys and just speak to her and I've already fully understand her energy. I can see it from here in just been listening to her, and I'm very thankful to her and thankful to the spirit within her. Thank you, and yes, please send my regards.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
All right, Tank. Well, we'll catch you then tomorrow, and send me the link on that, and I'll post it at the bottom of the in our description of this video.
Cool in the game. Will do. Appreciate you guys. Dan, I'll talk to you tomorrow night. Tui, I'll talk to you tomorrow night or sooner. And you can feel free to call if you need anything else. I know I missed your call the other day when you wanted to chat about the business plan. So you can feel free to call, anytime after midnight my time. All right.
Indeed.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
All
Good
right.
night.
So Tui.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what is
Oh,
what happened when the
I thought you're gonna say good. I thought you're gonna say goodbye.
No. Well, we're only 1 hour in. I mean, that would be the shortest show we've ever had.
There's so much to. Okay. What was your question again? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask. So, when you start with the strikes, so do you have like a list of demands, or is it just the generals are going to walk in with the army and they're going to like remove the? I mean, what's going to happen?
It's amazing right now because I know the military is working together with the strike, and so even though no one really knows, but if they are watching or listening to this show, they'll be able to see that the military is actually behind this because even the military are not getting paid. And so they have the exercises that they have to be doing every day, and all these are not there are no money for it. So it's just going into the camp, and they've been just aimlessly moving around, and then go back to the different homes in the afternoon. So yeah, it's a big sign that what used to make this government, like the money that used to make them do things, there's no more money there. So even though they don't understand the extent of the beginning of this of what it means that the money, there's no money in the government. It's not only in Fiji. It has nothing to do with the economy. It's just the old structure that slavery system that was here before. It's not supposed to. It's not allowed to be running anymore. So yeah, the only thing that our role as this group, as the chiefs, will be connecting them to the trust, connecting them to where the money is supposed to be coming from, and creating the full awareness and the true awareness of what Manna within them, and the spiritual awareness that they need to be able to understand and change the way they do things, and to free themselves from the slavery mentality and the slavery system. And we are looking forward to do that, and in any way, like whatever shape or form that it's gonna come and happen. We have to. I'm sorry I was not able to talk.
Let me ask you another question: is like if everyone is there for the Asian infrastructure, all the Pacific, all the island nations are all there at this time. It would be good to switch over and get money from Kim. While they're all there.
Oh wait, say that again.
I said, since all these other island nations are there right now, talking with China, right? You have
right.
This conference. If you switch over the government now, and then suddenly get money from Kim, then all the other island nations and all their governments are going to be there and see it happen.
Oh yes.
They're going to want to. They're going to want to join in then.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's easier. It's really easy to say that, but it's quite hard to do it.
Oh, come on, we just manifested it.
What we are doing right now is geared towards that, because we want to do it in a way that they will learn, and they will learn that everything has changed. But if they keep continuing and then keep funding them, they will continue with and so hard to actually teach them after they get the money, because the only chance that we have to reach them in a spiritual sense is right now, where they realize that this illusion of money is no longer in power in their life. So and then when they get their money, then we'll be moving around. Remember, we'll be moving around to all the rest of the Pacific and Australia. We'll be coming to US. We'll be coming to we'll be doing that. And as we go to we'll be connecting everyone to the to Kim, because that's the role that we will have to play. We'll physically do that. So it's a protocol, because it's not just about sitting down and theorizing and talking, and just it has to be done in a physical. The DNA has to move. That's the reason. That's the expression that our soul agreement has to fulfill. And so, if we do this, there'll be an experience that can help people learn about what their sovereignty really is, rather than just giving them money and continuing on the same way of thinking and the same way of enslavement that they've been there before. And so it's a very delicate situation, because we have to do this in a way that changed. It's not the same way it has been done in all those times, where people are just thought as victims. Oh, we need money. Because we don't want that. We want them to learn that they don't need money. They are the source of what money is. They give value to what money is, and it has to be a way for them to be reminded that they are this powerful. They create all this, yeah, and so it's gonna happen then.
Okay, well, maybe it's a different manifestation, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Though they
Mhm.
need to have their lessons, but I was thinking that this is a way for them to see something happening, and say, well, what are we doing here? This isn't working.
Yeah, what we're gonna do here, as we do it in Fiji, will be because the governments are connected, so they'll be connected to the song of the song and the song, and easily we'll be able to we'll be able to communicate and connect everyone to Kim. But we have to be the evidence first, because a lot of people, they have to see something, and see something that is already up, then they are able to fully
I'm
believe.
losing you. Your volume is low.
My volume is low.
It's better, yes.
Oh yeah, it's just too much wind. Last week was rain, now is wind. So the earth is happy.
Well, I'm still waiting for the rain to make it over here, so keep sending it.
You have to manifest it there.
That's what I just did. I told you that was my manifestation. All right,
Yeah, it's
let me ask you.
but it's wonderful.
Let's talk about
Sorry.
Australia. So you have the tribes in Australia, and what's their plan? What are they looking to do? You said that they were talking about a different system. What is their plan?
Right now we are ready, because I don't want to talk about plans, future plans, but I'll be talking about what's happening right now,
Okay.
the lessons that has been learned, because they've gone through just like any other native tribes. The Hawaiians, they've gone through the same thing. The Maori in New Zealand, they've gone through the same thing. Being involved with the old corporate structure, like old corporate governments and the old system. So everyone has adapted in a way to those different structures that they've experienced with. So Hawaii have experience with the U.S. and the corporate structure in the U.S. and the native people in our native tribe, our brothers in Australia, they have the same thing. So they were already fully aware of the changes that are happening on the planet. Here in Fiji, we are very lucky because of our ancestors have foreseen these changes, and they've prepared everyone. So they've created the law of the land even before the colonization came. I mean, even before they want to run the government through the law of the sea. So that's the reason why our government cannot grow, because people have their own land, and the government needs permission to get land from the people so they can extend economically. So yeah, that's one reason why they try to kill off the native tribes here, but they weren't able to do, because every person or every I just don't like the English language. Every time I'm speaking those things, the values, those values or those words are coming out in a in a very yeah, so every native person
I know.
in
Say people,
yeah,
man,
people, yeah, man and woman, and natural flesh and blood. Have to be very specific. So they have the land. They own the land. So we own 95% of the land in Fiji. So the government only 5%. And every time they try to extend economically, they have to have a permission from the native trust board, which is a trust that looks after the land. which is it's called the Native Land Trust Board. And so they weren't able to do this economic, to actually fully run businesses and create big corporation to control the structure. So we're not so enslaved like anyone else on the planet. Yes.
Well, so please, please don't forget to send me the documents. I want to see it. It's very.
The thing, the good. I want you to come, because you can actually come and get the documents from here. Because these things, it won't take long. The time, as soon as we send our Tank knows this. As soon as we send our budget or the business plan for this celebration, you will have to come and learn for yourself.
Okay.
And you'll be able to see the structure. Sorry, what's that again?
I said it makes it hard to plan.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, true.
I'm just joking around. No, I'm very patient. I've got a supreme amount of patience. It was a very gift of God. So.
Yes. You'll come and learn more patience in Fiji.
Okay, I'll teach you. I'll do some classes in patience.
No, we'll learn patience from us.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's because patience. It's just patience is a attribute of being sovereign, because you understand that everything will work in the way and this works, and you don't have to force or control anything. Because you're part of the planet, the Manna will just manifest and do itself, and all you're doing, you're just supporting and moving together with it. So you are not forcing or controlling or try to enforce what you want on the physical reality, but the physical reality will work according to what you decide or what you want or what you truly need. And that's what Manna is, and that's what it means to be sovereign. And so everyone will be learning that. Kevin came and learned that in Fiji. So Kevin, if you're listening, so he was able to come and learn that in just a few days, 4 days, 5 days that he came and spent. He was able to learn that you don't have to help the world or control the world. Everything you do is inside the world, and it's going together with it. And if you're forcing yourself, if you are not forcing or trying to control, you're just using too much energy to go against what's going on. And so that's what it means to be sovereign. And people need to be able to have that, because there's so many people trying to control every single thing in their life. Because that's the way they have been taught. And if you do that, you'll be using fuel. There'll be energy you'll be using, and so you'll tire yourself out. You'll kill yourself.
It takes a lot of energy to create your will to go against. You're going in a different direction.
Yes, like you said, it's it's negative. It's not going together with things. So once it's negative, you need a lot of energy to maintain negative illusions.
Okay, so let's. So I've got a good angle here. All right, so we're talking about what we will, right? And sometimes we're going with flow. So when we're willing something and we're trying to manifest in a different direction, so we end up, and the difference free will and destiny.
Right. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said,
say it again.
What is the difference between free will and destiny? Because destiny is you're going to end up somewhere no matter what.
Right.
Right, and then your free will is say, "Oh, I'm going to go this direction."
All right. So the question is your free will and destiny.
Yeah, which is what is the difference? How are they in alignment? How are they in opposite? What happens when you're going to in this direction? Do you not make it to destiny?
Yeah, for example, a lifetime. Talk about destiny. So everybody knows that if you're born because of disagreement, you'll die. So you'll end up there at one point. So whatever you choose in your life, you'll still end up into that timeline. It will always, the agreement of experiencing physical, transmutation of what you call death, which is a gift of your physical body. So free will is whatever you choose to, how to experience the agreement that you are here to actually do. It comes from the will from within, to just be deciding every single day or every single decision, whatever reality you try to construct with your DNA agreement, which is part of your DNA. And so whatever you choose, it's free will, but you will always, the point of from here to there, it's part of, because I think it's, because we'll have to talk about multidimensionalism, because, not just living in this timeline. There are different timelines, and your choices affect all the different timelines. So if you choose something this side, the different timeline you choose in that way, the experience, you're still learning from maybe a different lesson, but ultimately the bigger lesson will always be the same.
So there is another timeline where Tui decided not to follow the Ra Confederacy, right? And you're a government worker.
No, where the timeline for me, from my side, the timeline destroyed one of the planet, and so I'm not doing that again. There was a big land mass over here in the Pacific. It's gone because of that. There was just some lesson that we needed to learn, so we're not going to learn that lesson again. So I have a different agreement. It's I come not like every 100 years or every 1,000 or 2,000 years. I come much longer than that. So the things that I can't talk about now, or even here, that I'll be able to talk about later on when you fully understand my role. Because you asked me that question, what was your role? And I said, oh, that's a very big question. We'll wait for another 2 years, and you'll fully understand what I'm doing. And so,
well, it was my role to ask you to bring up the question so that people can think of their roles.
Yes, that's why I'm thanking you. You see, you already created a platform. I'm very thankful for it. Otherwise, I'll just be in the farm doing. No one will know, and the timeline will always stay in a stagnated way, and maybe in a different way, I'll be able to learn this thing that we're doing right now, and I'm happy that we're doing it this way. And I wouldn't change what we've done for these past few months or these past few weeks, because I like the way it's happening right now. And
it's out of just a manifesting. We just started, right? There was no plan.
Yeah.
We had the idea of 15 days straight, right? And 15, now 60, 40, whatever. So
that's how I like. That's how the fifth element works. It works when you freely choose out of free will, and your destiny just creates itself out of that moment. And so to try and control it. Okay, I want to do this next month. And this is like trying to business, trying to do a project or do that. It limits the free will of the way people think, and they get stuck.
So I've been involved in creating some very extensive plans. Binders, like big fat binders. 5 or 6 of them, and all the plan, right? And so as soon as you're done with the plan and you start down the first step, you throw away the plan.
Nice,
right? Because the plan is only just to give you the kind of something to react against.
Okay. Yes.
Right. Because you have an idea, you try to form it, and it's what the planning is about, is a projection, and then you have to accept that the very first step you make may send you on another direction, right? But you still have the idea where you're headed, but over time it changes. I've had some very big manifestations that have been part of my life since the time I was a young kid.
Nice.
And I'm still doing it. But I couldn't see that when I was a young kid making the plan for creating a new economic system for the world, that I would be talking to Tui in Fiji.
Yeah.
What binder was that? That was on the 32nd binder, on page 482 at this paragraph. Tui joins the conversation. You can't plan it that way. So there's a reason for planning, but you have to be able to just let it go, let the plan evolve as it needs to.
Yes. And that's it's a challenge for all the people with projects right now, because and people who, they have they will naturally learn that this change has to work that way, has to work through free will. So you can have a guideline like a plan, but how it's going to actually truly happen and when it's going to happen is it's going to totally depend on the planet itself and the way it wants everything to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can know that if we ride that wave, we'll be able to understand what the planet needs and the planet wants, and we'll just have to change our decision just a few days. Okay, I will take this call, try and call these two, and then it will change the timeline for everyone that's gonna be connected to them, and we'll create a new timeline where everything is back to the way it's supposed to be, because it was starting to fall just slightly, and that's why we had to do what we did, especially with the Kingdom of Manna. And now the chiefs from the native tribe in Australia are calling, and that's a very big deal for us in Fiji, because these our brothers there. We have been separated for thousands of years, and to get them back talking to the chief, we already connected. They told me they want to sign a treaty. Tell them you don't need to sign a treaty with us. We are not different. You don't need treaty with the Fijians. We already know that all of us on the planet are one. We just have to realize that and remember that there's no separation. The separation is the illusion that everyone keeps within them. So if they can clear that out and cleanse it, there's no separation to anyone on the planet, whatever color or whatever expression they may be, whatever orientation they may be, whatever they like or their needs, whatever the sexual orientation, all these are all gifts and expression of that individual lesson that the DNA has to learn. So we're all different in that way, and that's how the planet lives. That's how you can't have just like a body. You can have the flesh or the skin cells to be the hair cells. You're gonna get confused. And so everyone has to play their own part and be their own self. And it's right now it's just a big challenge for people to remember that, because there's so much illusion that they've been holding on to, that they think it's so real, that if they forget about it, they will lose so much. And so until the time that everyone will be able to cleanse themselves, this journey is going forward with the new future. Yeah, and very exciting, Dan. Very exciting indeed.
Yes, very exciting.
Yeah. So the funds that I just want to mention this. So the funds is we're going to be sending. What do you call that in Philippines?
Oh, mobilization money.
Yeah, mobilization money. And so mobilization money. So it's good. Good. So we can put that name on it.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I think that it's because of the poverty that's here in the Philippines. I don't know if it's still like the third poorest in that. I used to I've given some speeches here, and I've come up and I say I love the Philippines. There's only one big problem that I have with the Philippine people, and everyone's just frozen. What do you mean? You have a problem with this? And I would say, well, everyone here thinks you're so poor.
Yes.
Very abundant country,
yes.
Right? But why are you thinking that way?
Yeah.
And it's all because they have no money. no cat.
Yeah.
Right, but that poverty, I see manifests itself in many bad ways, and people acting
Yeah.
inappropriately and not respectful to one another.
Yes. Because of what they in Fiji, it's really good because no, we don't have money, but we don't see ourselves as poor because we still have that value of what a sovereign being is. So we'll never underestimate anyone, even if he doesn't have any money with him, or we don't value them in that way, and we always respect to. So we still have that a little vibrant, but it's almost been gone because of education and the economy um, and the churches and all this. It changes the way people value, and so they start valuing materialistic things and money, and you know. But in the villages, no one has money, but everyone is free and can have. You have how many dogs? I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dogs, 8 cats, and I have no money, but I have plenty of my friends, and it's like that. We don't value ourselves.
Cat, and what day do you serve dog?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was making a bad joke. Sorry, I was saying that what day do you serve cat soup?
It's we work together in Manna, you see. So we don't yeah, we don't
have a problem.
I don't eat my brothers and sisters then.
Good to know. But good to have a problem.
Only the fish.
But the one thing I like about the Philippines is that they have a lot of different animals that they eat.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Not so much the dogs and the cats, but they'll eat they have basic
I just can't stand it. I can't even stand someone treating them badly. So if you're eating cats or dogs,
I know it's not. But one time when I was eating and they told me, "Do you like it? Do you like it?" I said, "Sure, it tastes good." I said, "Oh, it's dogable." Okay. It's already over.
It's funny when all these soul matrices will come in, and people start to realize that they are very powerful beings. When things will settle in the planet, these soul beings will come in. Then you'll be able to see their natural form. They stand up like us, and they are so powerful. They can think you and get you out of the picture. But right now, if you do anything to them, they will always, you are always the most important thing right now because of the lesson that we're learning on the planet.
Yeah.
And the dogs and the cats, they're teaching us to love, even though they can't do anything. Can you still love them? Can you still extend that energy that you're working on, to be able to help them or to feed them? So they're very wise beings that been here thousands of years ago just to help us grow into the full sovereign and the full expression of the love and the awareness within us. And I'm thankful to them for that. And one day in the future, I'll be able to meet them, and maybe you'll be reminded that you've been eating.
Well, it's a couple of times, but it wasn't like I volunteered. It was like they did it to me like as a joke, right? But I just accepted it. I didn't. It's not like I added it to my menu. But it's there's a lot of when you're transferring energy, from the other living things, because we're all eating something that is living. So I've had a lot of vegetarians in my life, even vegans in my life, right? And if they have an appetite, they're better than other people that are eating meat, because they don't like eating meat. They think they're better people. I say you're wrong. You're very prejudiced against the plant. What about the plant's feelings? The plants have feelings too.
one day in the future, you'll understand that they are here because they love us. So people, the only thing that is need to be learned is that you have to realize that all the plants and all the animals agreed to this agreement. That's
Right.
why the day has this. That's why we can eat and share our love with them, and they can share their love with us
You have
by
to be
sharing.
respectful of that sacrifice they've done.
Yes,
And
and so they must always be respected. And if you ask them properly, they will always be happy to give it. And the same for you to them, able to understand their needs and provide, because they can't move, they're just standing still. You will have to try and arrange them in a way that you don't take advantage, or don't just use them for business and for just when you need them. But if you can create relationship with them, you'll be able to connect to the whole planet, and you'll be able to understand what the mana means, and the decision will ultimately, something like, even though you're having free will, but the destiny will be, you won't worry about what's in the future, because you won't worry about where you're going to end up, because you're living every day completely and fully, and you're on that moment. And so, we human beings we always want to find, we end up somewhere and call it destiny, but we don't understand that moment by moment is just a now. Wherever you choose to be and whatever you choose to learn, that's your soul agreement. That's your DNA agreement that you have to come and learn. So there's no destiny, there's no the future, and there's none, just the now. And to be able to live in the now completely, that's the challenge that everyone has to learn, and they have to fully live in the now. Forget about planning futures and all this. Connect to the environment, connect to the planet, and you won't have to worry about the future, because the future will just come, and it will come to your DNA as it's supposed to be. And riding the wave is very important. That's what the fifth element is. Just the realization that is needed first, so you can deprogram all this indoctrination and all the illusions of the planet, or the that we have created ourselves. And that's the challenge that we're doing right now, and I'm hoping that we can accelerate it really fast. And that's why I'm going to need everyone to come to Fiji, so they can have a different perspective on how their projects will be happening, and how they're going to be able to create an environment where you're not just trying to help someone, but you're actually trying to um, you know uh, teach them to learn and help themselves, and to be self-aware, and to be self-regenerating, because that's what they truly are. They're all sovereign beings. Just that's what the project has to be like. So yeah, the what do you call that fund again? Mobilizing fund, or
mobilization money, yes.
mobilization money, will be, it's part of this agreement. So there's a few hundred of millions that we're going to be sharing, that Fiji will be sharing to the rest of the world, just for specific people that need to be here in this celebration. And you'll be welcome as a sovereign, and we'll be preparing for it. So just your experience here will be able to change the way you draw up you construct your uh, your projects. So it's not just entirely about food. It's not just entirely about good water. It's not entirely just about trying to change people's life, but it will completely and fully be it will be wholesome, a spiritual part first, and then the physical part later. So we'll be able to teach people to do the same, and they can come up with their own projects, and it can grow. And very soon, everyone on the planet will be running their own, will be truly sovereign, running their own projects, and it is going to be a natural thing. People helping each other, and we all help one another to be able to grow together. And so, yeah, I will be needing a lot of chiropractor. So if who's this, Nicholas is listening, we'll be inviting you, Nicholas, to come, and with all your fellow chiropractors, and we'll be touring, and we'll be taking vacation, and we'll be doing this. So we've allocated those funds for that, just to help and to start everything moving, mobilizing. the energy.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward. I'll let. I'm happy for you to crack me up.
Yes.
I could use a good chiropractor. I haven't been to a chiropractor in 5 years. So, but I feel mostly okay. You know, it's occasionally.
Yeah, it's always good to be aligned. Your chi flow will always flow properly, so your free will becomes more aligned with the planet, and that's what the people here are learning. That when you're aligned, you are actually aligned with your hormones are aligned with how the sun and the moon and the weather and all this are working. And so your choices and your free will, or the will that you do, or the choices that you do, will always flow together with the fifth element that's within you, that is within everything. So yeah, that's what chiropractor is all about. Right now, a lot of chiropractors are trying to heal people. They don't understand that they're just realigning them to the planet, and the chi flow or the energy flow will flow properly, and they will feel that healing, and it will set them again. Set the body just set itself straight up again, because the body is aware. So the subconscious part of the body is fully aware of all these different changes that is needed. So chiropractic is just to push that part and tell the body, okay, you can align yourself now. So that's what we're doing right now to the planet by calling, talking, and by the projects that we'll be doing. We'll be realigning the energies of the planet, and we'll be able to do it together. So there's no one that's gonna come outside. We'll have to do it from within. And so we'll have to align each other, and then we'll have to align the whole planet. And I'm very excited, looking forward to it. Very excited, and very thankful to the tribes in Australia that we are talking to. Looking forward to tonight's. We'll be talking again, and thank you to all of you from Hawaii.
And also, whenever I send you the link, to jump on, you can send it to the people in Australia right away.
Yes, I still don't have. I think because I finally have the contacts now, and we have been the application. We're using WhatsApp.
Okay.
And so we were able to talk last night. I'll be able to send it to them. They will be able to. There's a lot of pictures that is still blur, part of the pictures, and they will be able to complete it. And so everyone will have to complete their own part of their own pictures, and it will become a much greater understanding when we come together. And so the Maori will come in, the Hawaiians will come in. So I'm thankful too.
Let me ask you. So, go back to the kangaroo skin in the 5 expressions that signed the 5 tribes. Is it one tribe, including Australia and Fiji and Hawaii? Is it all one tribe, or is that more than one expression?
Okay, the treaty is multi-level. You can understand it. It's not just one agreement. There's hundreds of agreements in different timelines. So it's coming together now. It's not just a 5 tribe or just this one tribe did that. Because the trust, it has continued for 26,000 years. And so one part of after a few thousand years, these people agreed to do this. These people agreed. And then finally they agreed to give up all their sovereignty so that it can be managed by the NI. And so the sovereignty is what has been. It's not a physical agreement of what the asset is. The sovereignty is what has been.
That was 16,000 years when they gave up the sovereignty to the Anunnaki?
More than that. It's plus or minus 10,000 years. Can you understand?
Okay.
So not a specific time. So the Anunnaki, we call them Dingi, because they are different. They're different people. Like they're not just. Sorry, what happened?
What was the name that you called them?
Dengi.
Dening?
Dengi.
And you have a problem with English, huh? Okay, fine.
Yeah, no, you'll be able to hear it and learn from it properly when you come.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of legend. There's a lot of the legend is all here. It's not written in books, but it's on the land.
Yeah,
So
but you're
the reason
not
why,
going to get me to roll my R's. I'm not going to be able to go la 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 la. I cannot do it.
oh, no, when you stay here a little bit, the whole island will change the way you speak. So don't have to worry about it.
I
It's
look
just
forward
because
to that. And
the language is has to do with the frequency of the people. So once you're here, you'll be able to learn. But if you are here there and you try to speak, you can't because you're in a different. The agreement is all the people around you, so it will affect the way you talk, the way you think. And so if you come to Fiji, you will think differently. You will see things from a different perspective because it's the way the environment here makes you think. And so Kevin came and learned that. So I told him, yeah, that's the most important thing. You have to move around the planet so you can learn all these different perspectives of how things really are. So if you stay in one point and you try, no matter how much you try to understand something, you won't be able to understand it because you're looking at it from a different, from just a stagnant point. So it's like standing and looking at a car from the front and from the side. If you wouldn't see how long it is if you don't look to the side. So that's the spiritual energy on the planet works like that. The language works like that. And so that's why you have different language on the planet because of the different frequency of the land, and we are connected to that. So that's what it is. If I bring my child to the US and he's brought up there, he'll speak like the people in the US. And it's not just the learning from that; it's part of the DNA agreement that the place teaches them to be there. But as soon as they come back here, they will have problems trying to relearn the language. But if they're born here and they learn from here and they go there, it's like the DNA can adapt in that way. So you'll be able to learn how to speak Fijian when you come to Fiji.
I will look forward to that. Yeah. Speaking Fijian.
Yeah, it's not just not talking. You'll be thinking also just like Fijian. You'll be dreaming like a Fijian. It's part of the environment. People don't understand it, but that's how the planet works. You will dream differently if you're in the US. You will dream differently because of the land. It's because of you're connected to the land. You're not separated. You are the air. You are the water. Whenever you come to a different part of the planet, you will be there with the DNA agreement of the place. So that's what happens when people are born somewhere. Their DNA is part of that three-dimensional point, time, space, and matter. That's three-dimensional point. So the way we think, because this is the reason why I want to invite people to come here, so that they can come and see the way we see things, and then we'll come to their place, and everyone will become, the sovereignty will regain really fast because now everyone will realize that they are not just part of a small planet or a small country; they are part of the whole planet, and then we'll be able.
I've spent a lot of time around the world. I've lived in, of course, in America. I lived in India. I've lived in Philippines, and I've been to many places in Europe.
So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the one thing that I know is that everyone is the same.
Yes.
Everyone is kind. Everyone has this feeling of being one. There's difference. Obviously, there's differences in language and food, and those things are wonderful, right? This is a thing to focus on and say these differences are a positive thing, not a negative. And I think that's where people realize when we come together all as one, we focus on how we on the things we all want and are the same, and then appreciate the difference. Don't be afraid of the differences.
Indeed.
Well, except for maybe eating the bugs in Thailand. I just didn't want to eat the bugs.
You never know.
It's just I couldn't find myself appreciating that. I'm very adventurous. I eat almost everything, but when it came to the bug carts, I just looked and I said, I just don't want. Maybe one day, but not now. So.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, coming to Fiji will align everyone, And so, in a sense that there'll be.
Do you eat bugs in Fiji?
What do you mean?
Do you eat bugs?
Oh, no. We don't eat bugs.
Oh,
Please, they have their own role to give nutrition to the plants and the structure of the biology, biological environment. So we don't eat bugs because we don't have those big bugs that you guys eat.
I'm not eating them.
The
No, not me. Don't put
yeah, over here the bugs eat you.
Yeah, well, the bugs are always eating me here in the Philippines. They're always biting me. Yes, yes.
We have mosquitoes, and so
So, that's like one of the. If I was to design a whole universe, I would exclude the mosquito. Yeah, there was a. Do you know this
that's
hot? Do you know this hot sauce called Tabasco sauce?
yes.
Okay, so Tabasco. So there's a commercial where I love this commercial because the guy is eating a taco, right? And he's putting the Tabasco, not a Tabasco, just filling up it. And he's eating this taco, right? And the mosquito comes and it lands on his arm, right? And he's just watching as he's biting another bite. And then the mosquito flies off and it just explodes. And
yeah, so
a comic revenge against the mosquitoes.
they have their own role, Dan.
Yeah, I know. How else can you learn how to like move your hand very fast? Yeah, you have to. There's a role. Yeah.
It's a very like critical decision of what love is.
Yeah.
Can you share your love lost with other?
Okay.
Since you've been.
So let me. I ask you then. So the mosquito lands on your arm and you're watching it. So are you hit it, or are you gonna love it?
In culture, we don't hit it. We just brush the what's this? Like we tell it, we ask it not to disturb us. We brush our skin in sideways. We don't hit it or slap it.
Ah, you go. Okay, you're just shooing it away. Sorry, have permission to eat me.
Yeah, so they will, because if you hit them, they will not just they'll come in like a military. It's a threat.
Yes, but the hot sauce at the tobacco.
Yeah. So we always do that. We just brush it off.
You go to war. You get the Tabasco and you put it on the taco and then you go to war. And
we have a legend here in Fiji where the elders, they ask for mosquitoes so that they can listen to the songs that they sing. It's soothing to them, so they sleep well when they hear that. That's the legend here in Fiji. So
okay. Before I get there, please ask the mosquitoes to go on vacation.
The mosquitoes is very fond of of a different taste of blood,
yeah, I know. That's why I'm making preparation. I'm making planning.
Yeah, they're taking revenge from you eating dogs.
Oh, that's it. It wasn't intentional. It was a mistake. I didn't know. It was a joke played on me. Wow. Yeah, this is probably not the best thing to order off the menu.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have 2 cats and a rabbit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so no roosters.
All right.
Yeah, because they express their sovereignty too much.
Hmm. I'll come. I'll give you one so you can go and keep it in. But I know this. Do you have these rooster fights in?
Yeah, they have cockfighting here. Yes.
I see.
Yeah, I don't. I
Hmm.
haven't. I saw one time. It just happened to be where I was at this village. They had this going on. So it was I thought it was a little bit uh, crazy. Blades on the knives. These blades on the feet. There is the feet. So that was a little extreme.
All right. Yeah. Anyways, we're in a very exciting time.
It is. Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can end here. We're getting close to 2 hours. It's fine. We call it a day. There's so much going on anyway. So I appreciate you coming on, Tui. Thank you for everything that you're doing.
Indeed. Thank you.
I look forward to being in Fiji.
Yes. Yeah. So I just want to thank everyone on the show, everyone that's been listening in. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tank. Thank you, everyone that's on the live chat. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing wherever you are in the world. If you are listening in and you understand the role that you're playing, thank you so much for being here at this time. And I know it means so much to everyone else, the role that you're playing, because if one of us, we are doing this together, and that's how it's going to work together. And thank you so much, all the people that are listening, all the people that are reaching out, the elders in Hawaii. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, my brother from Kosher, Lino. Thank you, Dale from Australia, Tony. I think the tribes that are reaching out right now here in the Pacific. I know it's time for us to stand up and unite and work together and reconstruct this new reality. And I'm looking forward to working with everyone that will reach out and will be able to learn from each other and move forward together. And so, thank you so much for all your efforts and energy. Love and blessings from Fiji. Peace.
Thank you so much. All right. Please share this video. Please give likes, positive comments, and be sure to let as many people know about this and encourage them to share this as well. Make sure that we are all moving forward. If you guys are out there in the structure of the system, the financial system, the government system, it's time for you to know that the side that you've been on and preventing this money from flowing to the people. That side, the plan has died a long time ago. The people that have been trying to continue to execute it are not on a side that's going to make things good for you. No matter what they say, and they're losing power. The military is now fully on board, and we're also now have the cleaning out of the Treasury now. So of those influences that are stopping the money from flowing. So let's just move forward all together and make an abundance-based world. Peace and have a great day.